Hi friends, welcome to DIY Sensory. I'm Miss Jennifer from the Central Library. This week we are going to dive into sensory bins. Sensory bins are probably one of the easiest or at least most common things you think of when talking about sensory input. And I have several ideas for things that you can do with a sensory bin. Today we're going to share one of them with some beads. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my friend Dr. Rebecca Barnett. She's a psychologist who works with kids with sensory input needs, and she provided me with this specific alternative to Orbeez that we are going to try today. So let's look at some sensory bins. This is the sensory bin that I use at home. It is just a dish pan from the Dollar Tree. And don't worry, if you don't have one of those, anything works. We've used Tupperware before, a large mixing bowl, anything that will hold whatever it is that you are doing works. So today we are going to make an alternative to water beads. So water beads are those tiny little beads that you add water to, they expand, and then you can play with them. They get kind of bouncy. They have a very unique texture that I find people either love or hate, but kids always seem to enjoy them. So since I didn't have any water beads at home, this was a great alternative to going out and buying some. The first thing that you will need is, of course, your sensory bin. And then you are going to use some pony beads, or what these are called, but any kind of plastic bead that won't break down in the water. This is water play, so anything that won't break down when it's exposed to water will work. You need your beads, water, and a third ingredient, which is a little bit of dish soap. So we're going to add a very tiny amount. You don't need a lot of dish soap, otherwise it's just going to suds up. All right. So I'm going to add a drop of dish soap. And if you find that you're not getting that water bead consistency after you add the dish soap, you can add a little more. The first time I did it, I had to add a little bit more soap. And then we're going to pour in some water, just enough to cover the top of our beads. We don't want them totally encased in water, just kind of floating there a little bit. Mix it up a little bit, get the soap moving around a tiny bit. Right, and I'm going to show you what mine looks like. Let's see if we can get it here. So as you can see, the water is right at the top of the beads there, and the soap isn't really sudsing up. But as you start to play with it, you'll feel that it has an interesting feel to it. The beads definitely feel different sitting in the water and the soap than just sitting in a bowl by themselves or when you're trying to work with them. This also provides a bit of a different input than traditional water beads would. Most kids enjoy this. I have come across a child or two that doesn't care for this. And so this is a nice different way to get the water play in that's not necessarily going to have them going, ooh. So you add that, and you can kind of just let kids explore. This is the best part about sensory bins. You don't have to have a set play. It's completely imaginative. Let kids do what they want in there. Let them explore how they want to, which means with water play, it can get a little messy sometimes, but that's okay. I always spread a towel out under my water bin before I let my kids play in it. Sometimes we do it outside if the weather's nice enough. That way, go straight into the grass and then we're good to go. So with my sensory bin, I provided a few tools so that my son could do kind of whatever he wanted in there. I did just a little plastic cup. I happen to have a mini mixer, a little basting brush, and a slotted spoon. So I just put these in the bin and let my son play, and he had a blast. It took him a few minutes to really get into it, but yeah, when it was time to have lunch. So, like I said, let their imaginations go wild. The play lasts for a really long time. Usually sensory bin play goes much longer than I would ever anticipate. Kids just love getting in there and digging and moving and all sorts of things. The other thing that's really great about the beads, as you can see, there are a number of different colors. So you can have them sort by color. You can have them count some beads. That's part of the reason I grabbed the cup for this. I have my son put, all the yellow beads that he can find. Or can you find 5 beads and put them in there? That kind of thing. But it just provides a little something to get them going as they start playing, if they even need help. A lot of times kids will get into these and just go crazy and have fun from the start. So that is our sensory bin idea for this week. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, the sensory bin can be anything you want it to be. I happened to get to the Dollar Tree before all the craziness happened, so we had one on hand. But Tupperware bowl, mixing bowl, whatever works. Thank you for joining me, and if you have any questions, please comment below. I will do my best to answer them, and I will see you next week with another idea. Bye, friends.